Y'all, welcome back to my channel. Wanted to get on here today with the kitchen empties. I've done several of these over the last couple of years, and I always do them with Ellis for living. We love doing these because it gives you a real good idea, if you want it, of how we eat. If you don't know Elle, I would be shocked, but if you don't, go on over to her channel, see what she's loving in her kitchen, and I'm just going to start pulling stuff out of my trash can. The first thing is this Deli Fresh cracked black pepper turkey breast, and I keep this around for snacks. It's a good protein snack, as a wrap, just with pickles or, anyway. I love to keep that just to grab real quick for protein. I went through a ton of mushrooms, and my favorite way to eat these, I don't really care that much for mushrooms, but they are so good for you. In a lot of countries, they're considered a medicinal vegetable. Really, really good for you. The way I like to eat these is to do a gluten-free breadcrumb mixture, which I'll put the recipe down below. And I'll put this in milk, which I have right here. Unsweet coconut milk. I will dump a bunch of these into unsweet coconut milk and then roll them in breadcrumbs and put them in the air fryer. They are delicious. And I dip them in a tahini dressing that I make from scratch, or ranch, a dairy-free ranch that's also really good. Fried mushrooms is what they are, and they are delicious. In the coconut milk, I'm using this for breadings. I'm using this in green smoothies. Anytime I'm hungry, I can get coconut milk. It's low carb, it's nice and filling. Okay, then I went through a lard because I'm trying to get a lot of good fat, and I have recently found out I'm very limited to what I can cook with safely. The rule is, and I'll just tell you in case you don't know, if it's solid at room temperature, it's safe to cook with it. It won't turn into a trans fat. Well, olive oil is not safe to cook with. Did y'all know that? Olive oil, avocado oil, if it's liquid at room temperature, you don't need to cook with it. It turns bad if you cook with it. So I'm cooking with lard. I'm cooking with butter, bacon grease, duck fat. But yeah, be careful with what you're cooking with if that's a concern for you. And I'm using just lard a lot of times with my veggies. Okay, then I went through a ton of Applegate Farms chicken and maple breakfast sausage patties. No antibiotics, no hormones, no nothing bad in here. These are so healthy. This is really what I have for breakfast. I have this and a green smoothie pretty much every morning right now. So these are so good. Made out of chicken and just, really good. Okay, then I went through a blackberries, probably a bunch of them. Any kind of berry I love because they are very satisfying. They have a little bit of carb that I need, but they don't leave me too carbed up. I love them, and that deep, rich color is so good for you. A whole one of these is a little over a cup. It's probably about 16 grams of carbs. 16, not 60. It's like 16 grams of carbs. So I love. I'm eating a lot of blueberries, blackberries, raspberries, and just with my breakfast, just eating them. I rarely put them in a smoothie because blending it up, that sugar goes into your system so fast. So I usually eat those. Okay, then I went through a Vermont maple sausage links. These are so good. When I cook them, it smells like I'm cooking pancakes. These are delicious. Then I went through another Applegate sausage, and these were more like brats. More the size of brats, and these are 150 calories for one of these. And I like to have it for breakfast, like 1.5 of them, and eat it with mustard. It's really good. I went through a baby arugula. I went through a bunch of greens. Every morning I have a green smoothie. And when I say green, I mean green. It's got about 3 cups of different kinds of greens and maybe peppers, like bell peppers. And that's pretty much it. It is green. And, I would rather do that than eat them. Okay, I went through several organic frozen vegetables because for a treat, like if I was going to have something sweet, like if I wanted to do something sweet on the weekends, I would do coconut milk, some fresh strawberries, a little bit of these strawberries, and a tiny bit of honey. So it is about 150 calories, not a whole lot of carbs, and it tastes like a milkshake. It is delicious. So I love keeping frozen fruit around just for treats, just very occasionally. Okay, gluten-free breadcrumbs, and these are for anything fried in the air fryer. I'll put this on mushrooms, squash. This is delicious on squash. This with nutritional yeast mixed together to coat that, and then in the air fryer. It's delicious. Okay, I went through an organic dairy-free sour cream. This was as good as regular sour cream. I loved it. I don't think I'll go back on dairy because I don't miss it. I don't really think it's that dangerous to me, but I feel good. I feel really good off of it, and so I probably won't go back on it. I don't eat that much anyway, and it's delicious. That was really good. Okay, then I went through a Silk Sweet and Creamy Almond Creamer. Now this has sunflower oil, which one of my girls over on Instagram told me that is very inflammatory. So in my coffee, I put a lot of coconut milk and a splash of this. But this is delicious and only takes a splash. Adds every bit of sweetness I need, just a splash of whatever's bad in there, but it's mostly healthy. It's just that sunflower oil in there. Now, I went through a bag of lemons, and I've used this with I use these with an electrolyte drink. Every day I do an electrolyte that I love, and I put lemons in it. I need more lemons. Okay, I just went through an unsweetened coconut cream. If you're interested in going dairy-free, this is a whipped cream substitute. And I got this for my coffee because I was going to try to get off of this because of that oil in it. But now I just splash it because I'm like, it's worth it. That's worth it to me. Everything else is so clean. But coconut cream is a good substitute for whipped cream, and it's dairy-free. Less than 1 gram of sugar and carbs in that. Raspberries, any kind of berry, I love. Another sausage. Okay, then I went through several bags of grapes, and I will tell y'all, I'm being so careful with my carbs. I'm very stingy with how much grapes I use, or I'm careful with how many grapes I eat because they add up fast, and there's a lot of carbs in those. A big handful of grapes will have 20 carbs. So I'm real careful with the grapes, but I love them. I always keep them in case I need that sugar. If I'm feeling like I need that, I'm just feeling depleted or foggy. Sometimes I know. I can tell when I need more carb, and I will grab grapes. Strawberries, these are not my favorite, but I love them in that smoothie that I only drink as a treat. I don't like to blend up fruit, but once every week or two, I'll do a strawberry smoothie with the frozen strawberries, coconut milk, and a little bit of honey. I would not do that on the norm. But it's a nice treat. And, healthier than ice cream or something. It's high sugar, but. Okay, another grapes. Okay, grass-fed beef. I am doing grass-fed. And at first, I will tell y'all, this tasted just wrong. It just tasted not as good as the other hamburger meat. Now I love it. I cannot get enough of the grass-fed beef. And this is really good. This one's from HEB, and, it's just supposed to be good for you. So I eat a lot of ground beef. Okay, in the eating plan I'm doing, the Wahls Protocol, she highly recommends organ meat, liver, heart. Well, I'm like, how am I going to get that? I haven't learned how to cook liver where I like it. I'll probably get it and end up frying it. But in the meantime, at the health food store, this is by Force of Nature, grass-fed ancestral beef. And this is beef, liver, and heart. Now, to me, it just tasted like a real lean hamburger meat. So I'm going to keep this and eat about half of it one week and then the other half the next week. So I love that I'm getting my organ meat, and it's not any extra effort. It just tastes like I'm eating hamburger meat. She says don't eat organ meat more than once a week. No more than 6 to 8 ounces, I think, per week, or it can cause damage, lung damage. But yeah, that's how I'm getting my organ meat. Okay, nutritional yeast. I'm mixing this with those breadcrumbs and coating mushrooms and squash and chicken. Chicken is good like that too. That's really good with butter in the pan. I'll put that recipe down below. But I'm breading vegetables with that. Okay, celery. I am doing celery almost daily. Celery and half a cucumber in my green drinks. Almost daily. It's a bunch of greens, celery, cucumber, and then sometimes I add like peppers or carrots. And that's it. It's just a blender full of vitamins. Okay, then I went through Mucho dairy-free cheddar, and this is fine when I want a little bit of cheese, which I'm not a huge cheese eater, but when I want a little bit of cheese, this was fine. And it's dairy-free. I'm sure it's almond milk. Probably almond milk in it. I can't see it. Okay, next I have a ranch plant-powered dairy-free dressing, and this is really good. My niece told me about it. I ordered it on Amazon. It might be a tad more bland than the original, but I could put a packet of ranch in this and it would probably taste just as good as the original. This is good though. It's good. Just maybe a tiny bit not as spicy, but it's great. I wouldn't have noticed a difference if I didn't know. Okay, then I saved some turnips. I'm eating turnips like potatoes. Let me tell you what's delicious is to get a turnip, which those are so good for you, very detoxifying. Cube them, then I'll saute them in a pan with some oil, and then I finish them out in the oven or the air fryer, and then eat these with mashed cauliflower, and it's like a potato casserole. It is delicious I usually have it with a little bit of ranch and a tahini dressing that I'll put down below. Tahini is like, and that's like a honey mustard. It's delicious. I went through an apple cider vinegar and I put this and lemon in my electrolyte drink. And that's just good for gut acid. Okay, then I had ground venison because I'm trying to eat a lot of different kinds of meat. I'm trying to start getting more variety. So I had venison and it was fine. It's good when you cook it. It's not good leftover. It's a little bit leaner meat. It was not good leftover, but it was real good at first. Okay, then I had several bona fide organic chicken bone broths. This is supposed to be great for gut health. I use this to get more protein. If I don't have enough protein in my diet that day, I'll have a cup or two of this. And sometimes I'll even add, if I've got a chicken cooked or a turkey cooked, I will even put that in it and just have it for a real low-carb dinner. I went through a Justin's almond butter, and I can put these in my smoothies, and it makes a real nice texture with the fat, but I usually will just get a spoon of it so I can control how much I get. But it is good in smoothies. It's a very bland peanut butter. If you're used to Jif or Peter Pan, it just doesn't have a lot of taste, but if you're trying to get a lot of good fat, it's good to have around. Blueberries all the time. All the time I'm eating blueberries in the morning at breakfast. Okay, asparagus. Y'all, I have never been a fan of asparagus. Well, I've started going to TikTok to get a lot of recipes, and over there I found a recipe. I'll put it down below. It's delicious and perfect every time. It is, you saute garlic and oil, put your asparagus in it, sea salt, for about 2 minutes, and then put it in a pan. And I put this cheese substitute on it, and I mean a tiny bit of it. It is delicious. Delicious. I'll put that recipe down there. It's one of my staples. Okay, then beets. I saved the end of these beets. I have become a fan of the beet. I love to put them in smoothies, my green drinks. As the carb in it, it's still pretty low carb. I think it has 8 to 10 carbs, but it makes it sweet. Well, sweet for a green drink. It's not like it's got fruit in it, but it makes it just a real smooth, a little bit sweeter and takes the bitterness of the greens out. And beets are so good for you. So I've been eating the beets. Anything with that dark, rich color. Okay, then I have Pet Botanics Training Rewards. For those two, because every night after they go to the bathroom, they come in and I train them to sit and to mind me because they look sweet, but they are stubborn. So I train them every night with these training rewards, and it's just our time together, and they love them. I give them 4 of those for sitting and being sweet. I get those on Amazon, but I think you can also get them at PetSmart. I went through some mango chunks. Y'all, so careful with these. I can't even believe I went through this because mangoes are very high carb. So I could, if my smoothie was just a little bit too bitter because of all the greens, I might add a tiny bit of this. Not much, but you know, it's a good yellow colored fruit, but I'm so careful with that. Okay, I went through a bag of peppers, and these were red, yellow, and orange bell peppers. And like I said, I put them in green smoothies. I put about 3 of the little mini ones in green smoothies, and it makes them, you know, naturally sweet, really good. Okay, I went through several olive oils. This is a Bertolli extra virgin olive oil, and olive oil is just good for you. When I want fat in my green smoothies, I'll, you know, do that. Sometimes with cabbage, I'll put cabbage in a Ziploc and then pour olive oil and kind of massage it in that Ziploc. And I'm just using a lot of olive oil, a lot of good fat. Good fat feeds your brain. It helps with myelin sheath repair, which is what protects our nerves, and it's good. I went through a ton of kale, the superfood, in my smoothies, and I will do about 3 cups of greens. This was green beans. Okay, y'all, green beans from scratch, just snapped green beans. Delicious with garlic, some kind of fat, and I'll saute them with sea salt. They are delicious, nice and fresh. Okay, then I saved some tags off of greens and vegetables. I went through several collard greens. These are great in smoothies. Very low carb, and it's not too bitter of a vegetable. I went through turnip greens. I go through turnip greens like crazy. They're great in smoothies. They're a good detoxifying vegetable, just really, really good for you. A lot of turnip greens. Dandelion is supposed to be good also for parasites. If you suspect you might have parasites, those are just really good for you. Spinach. I don't do a lot of raw spinach because of kidney stones. It can cause, you know, if you have a tendency towards kidney stones. So I'm real careful with spinach. Red Swiss chard. Love that in smoothies. And red kale. This was a nice change from the green kale, and you're getting that nice rich red color. I have an organic cauliflower, and I have started steaming cauliflower, 2 heads. I let them dry, let all the water run off of them, and then I get a little masher, and I mash them, and I keep them in my fridge. And I eat these as potatoes with butter in the morning. Since I'm off eggs, I sometimes will put butter, a little bit of honey or palm sugar, but just a little bit, or fruit, and have mashed cauliflower, and it tastes like a cream of wheat or something. Okay, radishes, another good sulfur vegetable, which is detoxifying. And these are good, just cut into little cubes, you know, cooked in some kind of oil with a salt and sea salt, and it's just really delicious. Okay, and then I went through a vinegar. I go through a ton of vinegar because I use this to rinse off my vegetables. I soak my vegetables in vinegar. I also just heard that baking soda is good. I'm going to start using that. If it's a big fruit, I have a veggie spray that I use that's not empty yet, and I'll list it down below. But if I'm soaking fruit like blackberries, blueberries, the small things that you're not going to wash with a scrubber, I'm doing vinegar. So that is all of my kitchen empties. Y'all let me know what y'all are enjoying in the kitchen right now, and be sure and go over and visit Elle And that's all I have for you. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like and subscribe. Leave comments and questions down below, and I'll talk to y'all soon. Y'all have a good day.